Hi there. Although we are live, we're not really live. Give me just a moment here.
What? Oh, we're waiting on the Instagrammers.
Can I, please?
The Instatubes. There we go. All right, we're going to go live over here as
Go
well.
live, yeah.
Should I do the intro or not?
Yeah, well, not the countdown. There's no
Do the
video
countdown.
now.
Do the countdown.
No, do the countdown.
All right. Hi there. My name's Dakota, and this is Fifth Avenue Cigars monthly live stream, live at Fifth Avenue Studios.
7 on 5th.
7 on 5th. That sounds like a train. Again, my name's Dakota. We're joined by the ever dapper. Oh, you actually like coiffed your hair too. Chad,
Freshly coiffed.
freshly coiffed. Yeah. He doesn't look like Prince Valium at all. And then we also have Ben here joining us, and
Hello.
our guest is.
I'm Steve Wells. I'm an attorney here in Alaska, and Dakota thought it would be a good idea to bring me on. That's because Dakota has
Bad ideas.
no fucking clue what I'm going to say.
I'm fine with that.
We can fucking say whatever
Okay,
the fucking
good.
shit
All
we
right.
want. You can say tits, cock, ass,
Balls.
anything, you know?
Wait, what were the 7 words? You know, tip, ass,
So the
something,
7 words on
cocksucker,
TV.
something, motherfucker.
Yes. Rest in peace, George Carlin.
Rest in peace, George Carlin. So, God, he's rolling over in his grave.
Oh
That's
man,
fatal.
you know what? I had a thought. Actually, it wasn't my thought, but I heard somebody saying this, and I really agree with it. As much as I miss the guy and was sad to see him go, I'm kind of glad he is not subject to the things that have been going on since he passed. Although,
Yeah.
God, would I
Also,
love
at
to hear
the-
his commentary about
the
it.
end
but,
of his career, he was jaded to the point where it was hard to watch.
a little bit,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we got
yeah,
some-
probably around 2004. It seemed like it kind of hit that, but before that, he was
My favorite growing up as a kid.
yes.
And
Yes.
I think about him all the time. Ah, fuck it, to
Yeah.
George.
to George.
To George.
All right.
Hey, man, Mr. Williams. Oh,
Shit, sorry, that I hit my. You burned me.
Well, we got a good thing. You know how to take legal recourse.
You know what?
about
Listen,
this thing.
I'll talk to my lawyer about the burns that I've got.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And we're good. I'll just smell great when I go home.
All right. Well, anyway, Steve, thanks so much for being here. I'm excited
Sure.
to have you at the table and learn more about you. I've met you a couple times upstairs, and I've always enjoyed our brief interaction. So this is cool. You haven't already got the vibe. We just kind of sit and smoke and drink and get to know each other better. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody who is with us already. It looks like we got
We
some
got a
comments
few
rolling in
comments
here.
coming in.
We got.
Yes. Should I smoke and drink tonight? Yeah.
Oh wait, well, let's
Oh,
start.
yeah.
Let's start up top.
We got
Why would you not?
First of all, our boy Chip. Chip, thanks as always for being here. Appreciate you, buddy. The Alaska sourdough.
Evening, Dave. How's it going?
I'm going faster than you guys are.
Yep.
Evening all. Let's get this thing going. Okay, why not?
Let's
What's up, guys?
What up,
Texas
man?
Taurus. Should I smoke and drink tonight or no?
Come
Yes,
on, man. What are you doing
always.
with your life? Let's
Well,
go. Let's go.
I mean, if you're in Texas, you're smoking meat and you're smoking a cigar. Like, come on. You should be at least.
Joey's smoking meat today.
We got Mr. Miyagi.
it's
what's
just me.
cracking?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I can't wait to see you. This is fuck, I'm gonna say Joel, but I'm just looking at Miyagi right on here. But from Garo.
Mm.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, man.
It was not a Garo cigar that scarred my flesh.
No. That was a West Tampa.
Your smokes have been doing great. Our lounge members love them. So yeah.
Let's see. I got Knob
Good.
Creek and Metallica.
Blacken's pretty good, man. You know, for a celebrity endorsed product on there, we've gone through 2, 3, 4 bottles of them around here, haven't we? At the table, it's smooth.
It's metal.
It's totally metal
In your
butt.
lungs.
Oh, your lungs, not
In
butt.
your lungs.
Yeah.
It's metal in your lungs.
So,
Right on, right on. Well, should we get into some cigars or what we got?
we'll start off. Yeah, West Tampa, new one to the shop. I've got the red, which so far I got a little bit of leather in there on the light up, and that's primarily what I'm tasting at the moment. I can't really dig in too much to it yet, just because we
please do.
lit.
Just lit. So yeah, so as Chad was saying, this is a new. Well, let me ask you real quick. Did you went to Florida recently? We're hanging out with Bruce Bush of Karen Burger.
They reached out to us.
They reached out to us. Okay,
Yeah,
so I didn't know if
actually
you met them
before
or
I
not.
even went down to Tampa. But dang, I wish I would have, since Bruce and oh man, I forget his
They're
name.
besties. Well, there's I did a little
Definitely.
homework on this. So Chad and I are both having Westampa Tobacco Company cigars. He's got their red, I've got their black.
Mhm.
These are new to our shelves, so we're still learning about them, but getting some good feedback from our guests already. This company was started by a guy named Rick Rodriguez. He was formerly with CAO as a blender and ambassador, and they got rolling in 2022. So brand new skin in the game, but seem to be doing pretty well. So what you got is a Mexican San Andres
Different.
Maduro wrapper,
Mhm.
and the black label is their Ecuadorian Habano. They actually have the white label as Habano too, but
Really?
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
man.
light Habano and a dark Habano. I've got the dark one. These are from higher trimmings of the plant, so they got more sun. They're darker, they're richer, bolder, and they both have a Nicaraguan filler and binder inside.
I mean, I would have figured it was just in Connecticut.
Yeah. I was
Just by
talking.
the
I
look
was
of it, you know.
talking to Cap, their guy on the phone the other
Mhm.
day, and he was like, "Yeah, everybody thinks that, but it's just a light and a dark varietal of their Habano offering."
Now on the
Um,
boxes, it doesn't say anything, so that's just says red, black, and white.
But that's what we're here for. So
So now that we're done with the marketing spiel,
What do I have?
yeah, what do you have, man?
Courtesy of Fifth Avenue Cigars, I have, what is this? The Sabano.
Espuelas. That is
the Espuelas from
Espinal Puro.
And I've not had one of these really before. It's a torpedo. Really good. I just started this, so I'll be interested to see how this changes. It's one of the reasons I like the torpedo.
Mhm.
But right now, actually some really good toasted nut flavor
Yeah.
and also a lot of cream. I'm getting some real soft, creamy, you've got your kind of typical leather flavors, but for a torpedo, I'm really kind of surprised at the amount of cream that's in this.
Yeah, pushing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Dakota, you
It's very smooth.
good. Dakota, you got a very funky one looking there that has what, 3 different stripings on there?
Yeah. So there was a gentleman who joined the lounge recently, and I was in the lounge at the time, just taking care of stuff, cleaning up, and we got to talking, and him and his bud do some very interesting stuff and get to travel around the world for the U.S. government, doing things and stuff and things.
With guns?
Yeah,
Things and stuff and things.
for the armed forces, but
They're
it doesn't-
stuffing things.
Yeah, I don't think they'd appreciate it if I actually talked about
That's all right.
They
But-
work for Build-A-Bear. They're constantly stuffing things.
it. Oh,
Well, wait, are they like? Am I going to age myself if I talk about Mojo Nixon?
Mojo
Mm.
Nixon?
I am.
apparently.
Yes, you are.
Okay. You know who I'm talking about. So the reason I say stuffing things is because he came on the scene in the mid 80s. The best way I can describe his music is punk hillbilly. He just died about 2 weeks ago. And to give you an idea, one of his first big hits was
Stuffing things.
Stuffin' Martha's Muffin. It was about Martha Quinn, the VJ, one of the original VJs for MTV, okay? And I'm dating myself, okay? But when you were 14 years old, and here comes Martha Quinn, who was innocent and cute and sexy and all of this, had that and Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool had a profound impact upon this young man when I was 13, okay?
I got a tennis elbow from that still.
Oh, okay, there we go. I get that. And so he had this song, Stuffing Martha's Muffin. Yes.
All right, so that scene's been ruined for me because somebody superimposed.
Oh wait, no, please don't tell me. I don't want. Okay.
Suffer alone, Chad.
Yeah, suffer alone.
Just think, old lady's face that was in Congress.
Well, we did get a little off course there.
No,
we did.
so he, it was Philip and Raul. They're new members. They came down. They're gonna be back again. And Philip is a bit of a cigar aficionado. I wouldn't say gatekeepy, but definitely like
Knows the shit.
knows his shit and will not accept anything less than perfect. And this is from a boutique cigar shop. He goes down to Florida quite frequently to, and they make this cigar for him. And as a byproduct, they also have it for sale at other shop.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But it was created for him.
So you've got
A completely almost custom cigar.
what just like a Connecticut shade and then almost a Maduro
Connecticut shade, Maduro, and
and then
then
the stripe.
Candela. What's the green Candela. It's got a candela band at the bottom for decoration, not for flavor, but it's actually double wrapped. So it's going to go from Connecticut shade, and then there's a Maduro wrap on top of it all the way down. So it's going to blend both flavors.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Is this the first time you've had that?
I met him a long time ago at Willowa when we did an event over there,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me an Opus X. And this time he's like, I remember you. I gave you an Opus X. And I'm like, God, that was like 5 years
That's a
ago.
good memory.
Well, so
He's
I
smart
want to
guy.
hear how that one changes.
Yeah, because that's interesting. You don't really see you see the barber pole with it, but you don't see a solid Connecticut in front and then
Right.
wrapped over halfway through.
So I'm going to find out. I'm intrigued. So far, the shade grown Connecticut is creamy, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of cedar, no spices whatsoever. It's mellow and kind of in the background and exists. So I have a feeling that's going to offset this like really dark Maduro.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. And he was trying to get us to carry them, but they were like expensive.
Pricey. Well, I mean,
What's
Yeah.
expensive?
They're like 15 to 20 in Florida.
so that's
So-
almost double, if not a little bit more here.
There's a lot to like about this state, but the tobacco taxes are
Yeah.
And
not one of them.
There's two things we can do. We can abolish the tobacco tax, or they can enforce it on online sales.
let's go ahead and abolish it because I'm okay with that.
That'd
But
be fun. It evens the
again-
playing field.
the city would not have as much revenue, nor the state, since that's pretty much the number one revenue generator.
Just got to get this pebble mine going. I've been hearing about.
Yeah, Pebble
So-
Mine,
So
Anwar.
do you remember a few you remember a few years ago there were all those all the Korean owners of the Stop and Robs
Oh,
that were taking the
Real
because
quick, what's that cigar brand one more time you're having?
This is Westampa Tobacco Company.
Okay, and then back to your story. Someone was just asking.
so all the cigarettes come in to Anchorage, and then Anchorage has their own cigarette tax. And so there was a woman that decided we can just say that they can all come into my shops, and I've got shops in Kenai and in Wasilla, and we'll say that they're going there, not pay the cigarette taxes, and then pocket them.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a bad idea.
that was a bad idea,
Very
but
bad.
there was somebody in that case that did not have to testify against anybody, did not go to prison, and did not get stuck with $3.5 million in restitution. And her attorney is having to sit right here.
Well, cheers. That's a good
Cheers.
good win for you.
I'm just saying
That was a good win.
that's someone literally just laying their giant balls on the table.
Yeah.
And that's why
And let me tell you, the federal government comes along with about a 4-pound hammer and says, "Oh, thank you very much for putting whack." Yeah.
now the tobacco tax, I'd love to just get rid of it. Even just lower it to half of what it is, and then I'd be able to at least be some sort of competitive with
Half
online
of what
sales.
it is would still be a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
And then be somewhat reasonable instead of more than doubling the price of
Mhm.
cigars. I mean,
Like-
it's damaging to small businesses like ourselves.
Like what's the tax on alcohol?
It's not much less.
Yeah, we have
It's more than
a really high tax.
I believe it's only 5% less than tobacco.
no, it's not 130% total.
What is it?
5% on alcohol.
5%.
That's statewide.
There's a 5% at the register tax.
City's 5, but statewide is.
No, there's a higher excise tax just to
Yeah,
come into the
yeah,
state. Yeah,
I think the excise tax is over 50.
it would. Yes, it's
That still
massive.
doesn't matter.
I know
to
when I
me
try and
because-
order bottles online now, they enforce it for online sales. And they didn't used
Mhm.
to. And not many companies want to deal with the tax situation, but a few will.
Mhm.
And when I do that, it literally increases they add it in as a shipping and handling cost. But when you call them up and talk to them, I buy a $50 bottle. There's a $25 to $30 shipping and handling fee, and then there's an additional $20 shipping fee. And the shipping is legit, but that's like it's more than 50%.
Yeah.
You know what you need to do, and I'm trying to work this out. I've got a couple people I think that can do this. What you need to do is just get some friends outside, have all your stuff sent to them, and then get like a FedEx account or whatever, and have it shipped from your friends.
Circumvent the system? We would never dream of anything like that. What kind of nefarious
I'm
person
just
have you
telling
invited
you.
to our table to come?
I have never, ever had a friend go down to the wine store in Pike's Place Market and purchase boutique bottles of things and then immediately put them in a FedEx package and ship them up here. That would be totally against it.
It's not against the law.
Oh, it's a gift to
Well-
me, yeah. And I'm not reimbursing it, so yeah.
Right.
The FedEx, I don't think they have rules about that.
As long as you comply, well, there's certain things that you can't ship USPS, and I think liquor is one of them. And as long as you comply with the shipping regulations, which is it has to be a label with a certain size, and the font has to, the label itself, and then the lettering. So you can't have just like this really tiny thing going.
DHL, by the way.
Yeah.
DHL is cheaper than FedEx and UPS, and they ship liquor.
Yeah, but maybe in my business I have a FedEx account, and then I write off whatever is shipped up here via FedEx. And so
Never go to antiqueliquors.com. You'll be broke.
okay.
Go to antiqueliquors.com. It's great.
Uh,
You want 80-year-old scotch?
Listen, my wine cellar, every once in a while I'll be like, this is a really good month. And now wine.com and winebid.com and there's this that. Oh crap.
Let's see here. So they should abolish the tobacco tax on anything other than cigarettes. I'd probably say cigarette tobacco that's loose leaf as well should probably be taxed because it's health-wise and the cost to the state, it's a net negative. It doesn't matter. But
It is a net negative.
as far as like and chewing tobacco is as well, because it costs our society for people to consume those long term. But
Well, that's
tobacco-
good with the Medicaid costs and what we pay out. Yes.
yeah, and then with like cigar smoking, that tends to be more of an affluent thing, and this is
Well, have
classism, but
you read the NAS report on it?
you mentioned it, and then
Yes.
then I looked at it.
Yes. Yeah,
But-
the NAS report just came out and said we've treated. First of all, there's been a fair amount of litigation over the past 4 or 5 years after FDA got approval to regulate tobacco in like 2008, and then there was this whole debate. What are they going to do? Okay, are they going to they're going to treat cigars?
Okay.
I don't know which is what all is going to be included in that. And they ultimately deemed, that's what the legal term was, they ultimately deemed they're going to apply it to cigars. And then a bunch of cigar companies filed suit, and the judge said, you haven't presented any evidence to show this. And while they're doing that, the NAS came out, the National Academy of Sciences, which is a government organization. Say what you want, but the court is going to rely upon a report from the government fairly strongly. And they said, look, when you talk about cigars, you have everything from White Owls, Swisher Sweets, gas station, all the way up to premium cigars. And these would qualify as premium cigars. They're sold in a specialty boutique.
Actually figured out what
Yes.
makes up a premium
And
cigar. Defined.
They said, well, there's no legal definition, but they said, here are 6 characteristics. And I forget what they all are, but it has to do with the size, has to do with the weight, cost, what it's made of, what it tastes like. In other words, there's generally no artificial flavoring. You can buy the cherry flavored cigars. You're not gonna get a Hoyo de Monterey that's flavored. Right. And they went through it and said your demographics for who's smoking it, how they smoke it, and the health issues that result from it are completely different from all these other products that are labeled cigars. And there's a good reason then to treat them separately, because your typical smoker of a premium cigar, they're going to smoke about 0.2 premium cigars a week, and you don't inhale them. You take them in your mouth. Your oral mucosa, which is where you would absorb in the nicotine, that's not nearly as efficient as your lungs. And so they just went down the list and said, this is not your typical smoker of premium cigars is at least 30, generally over 40. They're dropping at the time. They said, like 7 to 10 is a low price for a general premium cigar. You're not going to get an 18-year-old that's going to come in and say, fine, I'm willing to drop $10 for one cigar that I'm going to smoke once a week. They're going to go and try and get their packet of Woodbines. And so they said there's no reason for premium cigars like this to be categorized legally the same way. Now we haven't seen all the fallout with the FDA, but we have seen court rulings say you can't then label premium cigars the same way that you label other tobacco products. You can't, put the limitations on advertising and all of that.
Yeah. So progress is being made.
Progress is being made. It's slow, but it is being made.
Hopefully it'll trickle down to other countries like Canada. Have you ever seen one of their cigars? They all look exactly the same.
The giant lung cancer sticker on them.
They're not allowed to be displayed in their own boxes.
Yep.
You can't.
Oh, really?
You can't show their bands They're not allowed to be displayed in their own boxes. It's just a stick with the giant cancer warning sticker like you see on cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's what cigars look like. It's like the name, the fucking fuck you warning, and like cedar boxes or whatever. That's what we know this from our friends at Sagrado. Who, anyway, yeah.
They showed us a couple.
Yes.
I actually kind of
very
want some of
impressive.
those. It'd be kind of fun just to have them
Almost
sit in
feels
the
like
humidor.
contraband or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stole
put
this from
fans back on them. Like,
So even
stole it
though
from a communist country.
even though we're kind of bad here, that Canada and other countries, like
Well-
even the UK has some bad.
Chuk brought in a box
labeling.
of Davidoffs, right? Yamatsos.
Yamaso.
Sure.
Yamaso Davidoffs. And there was the standard Davidoff box. And it was maybe 5 inches tall by 4 inches wide. And 4 by 4 was a giant sticker with a picture of a dissected lung full of cancer. And it covered the entire fucking box. And you turned it over and it had the same thing. There was only like a 1-inch portion on the bottom where they could actually put their name and a description on the back and a barcode on the bottom. And that's standard because I guess in Taiwan, like they have huge issues with children smoking.
Yeah.
And they have like driven hard to stop it. But I don't think,
Well,
I don't
Asia
think-
in general, if you go to any Asian country,
except Japan.
I've been through China and
South Korea?
yes, and I mean they smoke far more.
Yeah.
Far more. You know, the whole idea of a smoking section, non-smoking. No, I mean everybody, and they smoke a lot more cigarettes. Which,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, oh well.
We do have
Couple of-
comments for a moment.
Yeah, and then we'll do a little roundabout here, and if you have something fun you want to talk about. Tampa, put my glasses back on.
Tampa is fairly new, but they do have good cigars. Miyagi's saying he's had the red before.
Thumbs up. Fairly new. We got Chip coming in here. I gotta come down here. There's the danger of imposing an online tax. People find a way to get the product they want, so it won't help the state or local businesses. That's very true.
It's funny, that applies to so many things in the way we do things in America. Like, oh, marijuana is not legal, but
Texas
you
tourist
sure are
was like,
stopping them.
"I'll be right back," and now he's back, and he's like, "Hey, got my rye whiskey and a fat bottom Betty."
There you go.
Like a
Well,
cigar, or
Listen, Texas, just as an FYI, we've got some Whistle Pig single barrel rye up here as one of the bourbons. Just an FYI.
it's different. It's not like a standard rye. It's definitely different.
It's good.
That's not. I don't like a lot of ryes that are like we're a rye, because then it's not palatable. And this is, it's
I like it.
good. I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm just like it's not like a rye I've had before. Like Ritters can go to hell.
Yeah, I just don't see any of them tasting like a good old Red Bull.
Yeah, I know you. Miyagi, sorry for the delay. I'm not in the lounge tonight. Depending how I'm feeling, I might show up. Nice.
Go.
And we're
All
caught up. So yeah, I mean, how's your cigar progressing? What is it you're having again?
The Westampa Red. Now started off with that little bit of leather in there. Well, not a little bit. It was a little bit forward on the leather more so. But now I'm kind of like easing into a woody flavor. The wood and a little bit of a coffee bean, kind of crunched up coffee beans in there, like in the back notes. So it's not a bad cigar at all, for sure. It's very interesting on how it's kind of evolving.
I had their Maduro the other night. It was really great execution. I just the flavor profile kind of eluded me, but then again, I like stronger cigars.
Likes its turpentine.
I like my turpentine. I like moonshine. I like me just straight black coffee and a really dark roast.
You probably like this one. I'd give this one a good shot for you.
Okay, and that's the
Red.
Habano.
Red.
No,
I'll
that's
tell
the
you what-
Mexican San Andres.
Okay, I'll try
That's
that.
their actual Maduro.
I'll tell you one of my favorite cigar memories was sitting in Santorini, Greece. One of the things I like about Greece is that it's much later in the day. So breakfast starts at 8. Okay. It's none of this breakfast starts at 6 o'clock in the morning like you get in American hotels. No, breakfast starts at 8 and it's a Greek breakfast. And so, you're done. You're like, you know what? It's 9:30 and I'm sitting out here looking over the Caldera and the blue of the Mediterranean. And I'm going to have a Cuban and I'm going to just have a cup of straight espresso here. And fantastic. Great way to start the day.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
God, I want to be out on the boat right now.
In the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Where's your boat?
I got sold.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was a family endeavor, and the person who had the title decided to get rid of it.
We got some Texas stores up there.
We'll get back to that. How's yours going?
So yeah, also on the Westampa, this is the black, and I'm digging it. It's got some like maybe some, I don't know, like some subtle kind of bready, toasty, woody notes, but nothing is really pop. It's like really well blended. I get a little bit of woody, a little toasty, some bready like sweetness to it, but very mild on the sweetness, just a little bit in there. Maybe some sort of coffee to cocoa kind of notes, but again,
What kind of bread?
just
Sourdough? Rye?
Wheat? No, nothing. Maybe like a potato,
Like a brioche?
like a sweet bread. But I don't know. It's nice. My burn quality is fantastic. It's a very smooth, cool draw. It's not quite creamy, but it is lush and very smooth on the palate. This is my first toe dipped into this Westampa, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a fan. So yeah.
Nice.
I think they'll be a good seller.
I'm having this doesn't. I wish I had the perfect draw, something, because it seems
A
to.
little bit better.
I could improve the pull, and it seems to want to go out if I am not actively smoking it. But
You want to trim a little bit more off the end, maybe?
no, it seems to do that no matter what. But I'm getting a bit more cedar notes that are really starting to come out. Interesting way that I'm still getting the creamy, I'm still getting the nutty, but getting some good cedar notes as I'm starting to get into this. I really like this. I would buy several and stick them in. We were just talking about this. Have you guys heard of King Chi? CHII.
Oh,
They make
You're talking about
heating and cooling humidors
Oh, yeah,
everywhere,
okay.
except they
Yeah,
also
I
have
remember
a
you telling me
about that.
integrated humidification system.
Yes. If you get them big enough, they've got a humidification system, because I've had hell's own punch bowl trying to keep mine humidified in Alaska, particularly in the winter. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really glad to join the lounge. And my cigar smoking has gone down just because it's really hard to find a good place to smoke inside in the
we're
winter.
glad to get you back on track.
Yes.
I mean,
So a buddy
priorities.
of mine told me about this, and he said they have models that do automatic humidification. You just pour the distilled water in. They've got the computer circuits and the compressor, and you just say boom, 70%, and it goes.
It looks like it's got a little fan unit.
Yeah.
And like something
Yeah.
that disturbs the water to get it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got one of those, and it should get here. It's in Anchorage. I just saw the notice today, so it should get here Monday. And I would definitely buy several of these and put them in my humidor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get you some glycol wipes and then a couple
Yep.
of Povitas to just let them sit in there and age everything, and then you turn that bitch on and go.
I'm thinking just, let everything sit for about a month, give it a good time to sort of acclimate,
Okay.
see how it goes.
Be a good one to
Yeah,
hit up in there.
absolutely. Absolutely.
How you doing over here with this boutique, funky,
Yeah, you-
beautiful cigar over here?
Just
Dakota?
starting to hit that Maduro. And he doesn't even know.
While he's puffing and tasting, I will say I don't have that. You said it's King Chi.
CHII.
I have a somewhat kind of similar unit. I've got it. It's from New Air. It doesn't.
I've heard
it's
of New
not
Air.
It's not a self-contained humidifier. So I just throw Bovita packs in the back. But God damn, does it work well? One of the best purchases I've ever
Okay,
made.
so the King Chi, they have smaller units. You have to get to a certain size before they have the humidification, but they'll have a heater or cooler, so it'll keep it at the constant temperature. But they've got on their smaller units, and there's a noticeable jump up in price, because I think mine is like the 43L, so it'll hold just a bit over 300 cigars, and that's the smallest one that has the humidification.
Mhm.
That was about $500 off Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you're going to pay about 150, $200 for a good humidor,
a cedar box,
even for
yeah.
a cedar box.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there going, okay, so for another $300, I get one that holds a lot more cigars, has the cedar
Trays.
the cedar trays, and
Yeah.
and I can just sit there and look at it. Yeah, I'm at 70%. Yeah, oh, it's giving me the light that I need more water. Okay, boom, done.
But then at that, also, you don't have a headache.
Yep. Yes.
Freaking
I think you're
every
gonna-
day you're sitting there trying to figure out if you got it right.
Oh,
If you decide to
I
go
think
to
you're
your
gonna love it.
cabin or something for the
Yep.
weekend, you can come back and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yes,
even if there's a power outage, it's a sealed unit. You're
it's a
good to go.
it's a sealed unit. Yes, yes. So
I think you're gonna love it, man. Mine does, with the temperature, it
Yeah.
does that. It circulates air, and I use Bovitas, but they last a year
Mm.
or more.
well, I'll tell you
it's
what.
just nails on
If I don't
all
get
the time.
kicked off today, and in like 3 or 4 months, you're like, hey, come back and give us a product review of the
Get
King
kicked off,
Chi.
man. We gotta have you back because I feel bad about
About what?
getting your hand.
Oh, yes, I need to come back. Okay, yes.
You gotta get me
There's a,
back.
you see, right. You can see that black mark right there, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible, man.
It is.
Are you
Yeah,
okay?
No,
Are you
I'm not.
okay?
I'm not. You know what? Here, this is the
That
finger
was-
that was injured. Okay.
You'll be looking for a bill in the mail.
Bill Avenue Cigars.
All right. Back to Dakota. He's had some
So
ups on here.
it's
Sorry.
cleared. The creaminess doubled.
Oh, that's cool.
And all of a sudden I'm getting almost like Oliva-esque baking spices coming through, and then an oiliness from the Maduro.
Hmm.
And this is stronger than my father. I'm having a good time.
Usually I get McCormick.
My father.
Well, that's cool.
Reminds me of the judge almost as far as strength level.
So he says that's in a little town in Tampa, or a little boutique in Tampa.
Yeah. He is a prodigious cigar smoker, him and his friend, and they're both standard members. So they'll be in quite frequently. We'll just ask them for like a little brochure. I mean, it'd be nice to have
Put me
some
down for a
boutiques.
couple of those. If you ever order any for the shop,
Or
put me.
worst case
I'll-
scenario, order some.
Now
Okay,
I'll have
that's
my
fine.
dad swing by it hopefully because he owes me a favor or two. And we'll have him pick some up. I'll pass them around.
Then we got Texas tourists coming in here saying we have a Devil's River whiskey here in Texas too. Ain't too bad.
So this is why I was bringing him up earlier. He said one of the reds also.
He said it was pretty good. Let's see here.
Have some nice cherry notes. Better after the dry box.
That is
low-
interesting. That's something I haven't experimented with much, but I have heard or read about, and just trying to
The flavor.
just
change.
trying to know what I'm talking about, or
We gotta
enjoy
get
my
you some
cigars or
soon,
whatever.
you
But
know?
yeah, 70 to 72 or whatever for longer term storage. But when
Mhm.
you're actually getting ready to smoke them, a lot of people like to drop it down just a little bit, and
Mhm.
it makes sense if your cigar's too damp, you get funky burn. I
Yeah.
haven't really
Oh,
experimented with it too much, but that's cool to know.
Well, our humidor, it fluctuates a little bit from like 65 to 70 throughout the day because the sensors don't always kick on right at
Yeah.
when the whole thing's at
Yeah.
65 or whatever.
Right.
It kicks on when the one sensor's at 65, and so I got to amp it up to 70 in that area, and
There's
then
a
it
caveat.
raises up and back and forth.
there's a caveat. It was 0 today.
The
I was just
temperature.
gonna say,
It
yeah.
was-
It was
quite a bit,
0
too.
today with almost 70% humidity. So there's basically ice fog everywhere with a 20-mile-an-hour wind. We went out and watched the Iditarod
it'd be
today.
nice
It
to have a
just
20
burned
mile-
our face off.
Okay, you know what? Listen, I live up in Palmer. I'd love a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
I know what you're talking about. The last big windstorm wiped out all of Wasilla.
Oh,
Oh, you remember that windstorm we had like 3 years ago?
2
2 years
Yeah.
ago, whatever. We lost power. My son had a snake. The snake froze. This is
Oh,
not a joke.
man.
Okay,
Is
we
the
had
snake
two.
okay?
No, the snake dead.
Oh, I wasn't
Froze.
sure we didn't
Froze.
No, I said froze.
Okay.
Okay, we
It's
had
like the
we had
demolition man
we
snake.
had-
You gotta bring him back.
it wasn't quite that bad, but we have 2 wood stoves and they were going. I had my alarm set every 4 hours so that I could get up and jam that thing with wood. And we've got 3 levels. And the bottom stairs, the bottom floor was doing all right. We were about 60, but the top 2 floors, we could not get above about 35 degrees in the house.
mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what I did, and we had no power, and you're just like, shit. Yeah, it was bad. And so we got a generator, got somebody come out, and because you've got to do the whole
Connected.
the whole connected and all that.
Yeah.
And he was a great guy, and he says, I've got a lot of calls for that this summer.
Making
So-
some good money.
He did, and we've used it a couple times since then. and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
Just even having like a battery bank backup, it helps out quite a bit. For even the most minimal thing, if you have just for the heat.
Yes.
Like a
Yes.
Tesla wall or something like
Something
that.
even simpler than that, even it doesn't matter. Just as long as you have something to provide the heat or keep the refrigerator going.
Yes.
At my house, I've got a gen set that's mounted to a little concrete pad in the shed in the back. And I still have to run a lead from it, but it's a little propane powered unit. And it will isolate just to the furnace and
So
keep that going. And the hot water heater in the furnace, so we can take a hot shower. We got heat, but maybe not anything else. But
Yeah.
who the fuck cares?
we've got baseboard heat, but we've got a system where the hot water heater is connected to that. So if we have heat, we have hot water, and that was really nice. But my wife is an emergency room nurse. In the Valley, my daughter is an ICU nurse at A&MC, and in the past, since January of last year, both of them have had hiccups in their power. My wife said the hospital went dark. She said for like 5 seconds, and it's supposed to just be like that because you got people on vents and other.
Oh yeah,
and
surgeries.
Yeah. And she says we're sitting there, and and she says there's a bad wind and all of this. And
She's doing a surgery. Do you
and then
just freeze?
And well, no, I'll tell you the bad one. You remember that earthquake? There were people in the middle of surgery, and they were like, you know what? We're done. We sewed people up as soon as we could, even if we weren't done with the surgery, and got them out of the OR. Because you never know when there's going to be another aftershock. Because we had aftershocks all day long, and they were heavy. They were like 5 aftershocks.
Yeah,
and
they might die, but they will definitely die if you're doing surgery on them while an earthquake occurs.
Yes.
What I envision is Leslie Nielsen as
That is interesting though, because we've all heard a lot about that pretty good sized shaker we had a couple years back, and it's all about, oh, what'd you lose? And people walk into our knife shop or the cigar shop. Oh, I can't imagine. I haven't actually thought about somebody who was like microscope and surgical. Like that's pretty fucking heavy, man.
That one was heavy. Yeah. Well,
I hadn't thought about that one.
We were talking about a local business owner that is, his restaurant is well known for their Scotch and bourbon and whiskey selection. And a friend of mine knows him and was representing him because his insurance company did not want to pay because he had lost some really expensive bottles of Scotch, like 5-figure bottles of Scotch.
Yeah.
Like, well, and he.
Is that a place over in Spinard?
I can't really say, but
I can either confirm nor deny.
I cannot confirm and I cannot deny, but that would seem to be a pretty reasonable
guesstimation.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would imagine they would never want to pay for like a broken liquor bottle, especially one that's already been opened.
But it's stock. I mean,
That's
bread
and butter. You can't really deny that's.
Well, I mean,
when you're charging $300 a pour and it fucking breaks in an earthquake.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah.
I did a trial in Seattle, and so I was staying at the Hyatt Regency, and their local little restaurant was called the Rick House. They've got just an unbelievable number of bottles.
I've heard of that place.
Yes. And so this guy comes in, he goes, do you have Macallan M, Macallan X, one of the two? I forget which. And she says, yes. And the guy says, well, can I get a picture with the bottle? She goes, we don't get that bottle out unless you get a shot. And he goes, then I'll take a shot. And she says, it's $750. And he goes, I don't care. And I'm going, I like my scotches, but I don't know if I pay $750 for a shot.
You know what you do is pay in cash, and then you immediately grab the bottle and fucking run. If they don't have your ID on file or anything, just book it.
Yep.
You might make it.
I wonder how much that bottle costs on its own.
About $3,500 to $5,000, depending upon where you buy it. And that was there. Up here. So what, 10,000?
Just start a bar, just high-end shots is going to be the name of it.
High-end shots.
That's all we serve, high-end shots.
You just walk
All
in.
we need to do is pour one a day.
It's Little John just on a loop. Shots.
But there was a bar. I'm trying to think of where it was. I was in. They had a really great beer list, and it was Seattle or Portland. It's been a while since I've been in Portland, but at the bottom they had Bud Light, and they charged $35 for a pint of Bud Light. And the note under it was, if you're going to drink Bud Light after all that we have on tap, you deserve to pay this much. And I thought, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'll do a quick little shout out to Westampa here. I've got a really nice mid-stick ash going on here. I don't know while that's showing up, but construction's great. New company, but they're doing it right. Just want to throw that out there real quick.
Every time you do that, you gotta do the Al Pacino. Got a big ash.
This has got a big ash. You got to go ahead all the way up it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
so one of the great legal stories was about Clarence Daryl, and he did a trial, and so it goes to the end of the trial, and they're going to argue it, and he's the plaintiff. I think he's the plaintiff. Anyway, he went. Maybe he was. It doesn't really matter. When the other guy gives his closing argument, this ought to tell you how long ago it was. Daryl sits back and lights up a cigar, and
Right
so
in the middle of the court.
right in the middle of the court, he's just sitting there smoking.
When
chilling.
was this?
It's been like the 20s, okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's
right.
a little bit more acceptable.
And so he's just in there smoking. And what nobody knew was he had taken a hat pin and he put it in this long cigar. And the longer that he smoked, the more ash that he got. And pretty soon the jury's just sitting there watching. When is this ash going to fall? And they're not paying attention to what the other lawyer is saying.
I love that.
I know.
That's such a good
awesome.
strategy.
That's
Diabolical.
mean and genius.
I know.
Can't fault him for it. I mean,
You can't fault him for it.
I mean, hopefully he had a good case anyway. Hopefully.
Who knows? But yeah, still, he's
That's
just
the thing he's known for.
Be pretty
Dakota, we do have a new comment, but also we
have
haven't
several.
gone back over to Instagram for a minute. We might.
might have somebody there.
This is a new thing for us to be watching
My
Instagram
God.
also.
So we've
sorry.
got Puros Music Projects. Hi from New York, Hudson Valley region.
What's up? Thanks
Oh wait,
for joining.
wait! Hudson Valley region is one of the best producers of foie gras in the country. Thank you.
All right, sweet.
I've heard it's
Thank you.
delicious.
You've never had foie gras?
Never had frog walk.
I've had it.
Man,
We're gonna have to
Pretty good.
rectify that.
Yes.
We got
Yes.
Dave. He's sipping on some Talisker single malt to try and clear up his throat. He just needs some of my rum and just blast that bitch
Yeah.
right out.
Mm.
Snort a line out of the bottle. Be fine.
Is it West Tampa or have a Tampa cigar?
Oh, West End. There you
West Tampa.
Copy.
Copy. I know Mike's on here somewhere, and he's gonna be upset if I don't click everyone.
Probably Mike's just enjoying himself.
Yeah,
You should.
he's on vacation. He needs to be sitting out there.
Humidor maintenance is the hobby part of cigar smoking.
Yeah.
It's not if you don't really have time for it. And then all your
well, wait,
expensive
it's not
sticks
just
die.
that, but if your cigars, it really affects your cigars. It's not like fly tying. You know, if you fuck up the fly, you can like, well, let's just see what happens, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. 3 or 4 casts in, I cut it and chuck it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're sitting there going, I have these really nice cigars. Now they have roughly the humidity of the Sahara Desert.
Yeah. And the humidors up here are going to be way different from the States because you got dry as a desert up here at times, and then you get rainy as it gets. So it fluctuates so much, and it
Well,
just
even when,
becomes not fun.
even when it's, you said that it's 0 degrees and 100% humidity. Great. All that air comes into your house, warms up to 65 or whatever Alaskans keep it at. And now all of a sudden,
Your
it's
ceiling is
it's-
fucking dripping.
well, no, it's 20% humidity because 100% humidity at 0 is like 20%.
Yeah.
So you got a real issue, which is
It-
one,
We
Yeah,
definitely have our
terrible.
unique challenges here,
We-
trying to maintain it. And that's the way going back
Yes.
to like the plug-in. It circulates,
Yes.
it heats, it cools.
yes.
Spend an extra $100 on a plug-in electric humidor. It's fucking worth it. Like,
Yeah, I tell people all the time if they're going to get into it and they want to try it before they buy that big old humidor,
Tupperware.
just get a little
Tupperware.
sealable Tupperware thing that
Get Corningware. Get the one with the rubber seal and the snap top.
Mhm.
Don't fucking cheap out. Spend the $15 on a fucking thing of Corningware. Put some cedar pieces in there on top of your Bovita so it doesn't touch the cigars, and just throw them in there.
So
Yeah.
if they like it after and having the scars and that for a while, then start figuring out what kind of sealable, like well sealable kind of humidor
All the
to have.
fancy looking units we have upstairs, they're really desk humidors that you have on your desk
Yeah.
to kind of like
Yes.
show.
Which is another thing I tell the customers is that are you buying a humidor for everybody
Storage
else
or for sure.
for yourself? And
Yeah.
like, are you enjoying your smokes? Or are you trying to show them
So
off.
Westampa is going to be at PCA this year.
Nice. Yeah, I talked to him about that when I stay him. Oh shit, Brucey, baby, how you doing, man?
And back to Texas Taurus. That's cool, Miyagi. McAllen X is what he's having.
Okay. What we were talking about, whether it's McAllen X or McAllen M, so he might have been saying it was McAllen X.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay. No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
5,000 to 6,000 a bottle. Yeah, I'll stick with Boone's Farm. You can have my Boone's Farm.
Bruce is asking how the cigars are so far.
Pretty good.
Boons.
Pretty
You
good.
get a bottle
Pretty
of
great.
I'm enjoying mine.
Yeah, I do like this. It's like I'm not usually like a bitter type of coffee drinker, but
Mhm.
this has got a little bit of that, bitterness to it, which isn't bad at all in the cigar. Fantastic.
Old English.
Yes.
It's Dave's single malt.
That's so cold. 45.
As long as there's two zigzags to go with it.
Old English and an 8-ball.
Only if you get the kind that have Billy D. Williams with the advertising on it. Okay, sorry. Or maybe that was that Old English or was that Colt 45 that he would advertise?
I can't remember.
But you know,
I know what
okay,
you're
yeah,
talking
you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
All right. Hey, was jamming out to Easy yesterday.
Who wasn't?
Hey,
Thanks for being here, bud. Appreciate you. West Tampa, so you joined us a little bit late. So Chad over here is enjoying a red, and I'm having a black.
Can't tell by the wrappers.
and then I'm having a boutique cigar.
The red has a much darker wrapper.
Court
Then the
45.
black.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Then no, I'm not having that. Question mark for the red.
Yeah.
And then question mark for black. Nope, the McAllen X. Out of my budget.
Out of my
Yeah.
budget too.
One day it will be in all of our budgets.
Red is Santa
I would,
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'm really fucked up, but well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. I'd spend 3,000 on a bottle of wine, but I'd have a hard time on a $3,000 bottle of scotch. That's just
If that $3,000 bottle of wine doesn't give me heartburn, I'll pay that too.
3,000 on several cases of regular McKellen
Yeah.
yeah.
or Glenfiddich.
I mean, if I was going to do
Or
something,
Lafroig.
Lafroig, yeah, if you want to go
Or
on.
Balvenie Doublewood.
if I was going to drop that kind of money,
Mhm.
it would be on something from a defunct distillery from like the 40s. And I'd find something that is completely unique. I'm never going to experience it again. Hopefully it's fucking
you-
good.
Have you seen the bourbon company that produces the Forgotten Barrels? You know, bourbon's kind of enjoyed a renaissance over the past 15
You
plus years.
can buy defunct distilleries and get
Yeah.
the barrels and you have no fucking clue what
You
they are.
have no clue what they are, but they've been sitting in these rick houses for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then it's, 125, 150 bucks for a bottle of bourbon. And you're
It
like,
could be horrible. It could be fucking awesome.
it could be, yes. And I've done it a couple of times, and the ones I've had have been fucking awesome.
I mean, after the time they've sat there, kind
Yeah.
of forgotten, nature's had its
Or,
course,
or,
or they
there's
turn
been-
into syrup.
or they, yeah. But Ardbeg also has some really nice stuff that they age literally on the Scottish, I won't say coastline, but they've got like this cave
Mhm.
that's cut into the side of the hill, right? The waves are crashing, and so they just absorb this.
It better
that-
be a
that's it.
goddamn salt cave.
Oh, it was fantastic.
That sea spray just
Yes, it just.
absorbing it.
Oh yeah, and
I like that.
I do too. I do too. Ardbeg is just good stuff.
I just need to go to Scotland. That's all.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. Like you get there and you look around and you're like, this is parts of Alaska. Except the people, it's very, very similar, except that
See, I'm
they've
gonna have
had
to
several
write this
thousand
again.
years of culture to build up stuff. So it's more
Everybody
interesting.
sounds like they're angry at you.
No, they don't. Like, I don't know why. I'd never met a woman with like a really thick Scottish accent. And the first time I did, I was like, my God, this is amazing.
No, I'm talking, the real thick Scottish. Like,
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, just
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's
No,
really
please continue. Do
really
more.
grumbly.
Do more.
And they're sitting
Yeah, no,
there. That graveliness comes out.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I got to
Oh,
say,
no problem.
of all the accents I ran into, for some reason, like a really thick Scottish brogue on like abroad is, I don't know why.
And they got more redheads in Scotland than anywhere else.
Ooh, redheads.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
I mean, you know,
Everybody
who
thinks
cares, right?
Ireland, but
It's platinum
Well-
blonde or redhead, and it's natural. Which is
Yeah, but the
like,
redheads are likely to stab you in your sleep.
that's okay.
Viking.
As long as I got to stab him before that.
Okay.
moving
All right.
on.
All right. Very good. And thank you for
Wow.
keeping your cigar away from my hand as I did that. Thank you.
Multiple injury event.
Ever had a 2018 Opus 1 red wine?
No.
So I guess Opus did a red wine. I'd rather do $1,500 on Scotch and $1,500 of cigars from Fifth Avenue Cigars, of
Woo!
course.
You can do that anytime you want, Sean. I
Yeah.
mean, there's
Yeah,
really,
come on
literally nothing stopping you.
We're open tomorrow at 3.
I'm sure
Appreciate
Rocky
you.
Patel loves Macallan X. Rocky is a big single malt drinker. I don't know. He's also a lawyer, so I can't see him like spending that kind of fucking money.
I don't know. I see him on, you know, the gram and stuff. He's got some pretty fly suits on. He likes to travel and eat abroad. So I see him as a guy who likes the finer things.
I don't know. Like, including you, like, there's certain things you spend money on that just give you anxiety. It doesn't matter that it's not super expensive in that world. It just doesn't.
Like what?
I don't know, like a $3,500 bottle of scotch, apparently.
I wouldn't say it gives me anxiety. I'm just like,
Exactly.
I look at wine and it's like $20 bottles versus 40. 9 times out of 10, probably even more, 99 times out of 100, you're going to definitely tell the difference.
Yeah.
Then 40 to 80, probably 8 times out of 10, you'll tell the difference. And then after that, 8 to 1, and you just keep this the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And to me, the law of diminishing returns on scotches is around $500 to $700 a bottle. I don't do that very often, but
Hey, you know, actually, don't disagree. I can't taste after. It depends on the brand, but like after like a 30-year from a cheaper brand, which you can get for like $500, and then like a 18-year from a much higher end brand, which is like 600. I can't if they're the same kind of scotch, but I can't really taste the difference. Does that make sense?
that makes sense.
So like after a certain price point, it seems to be more about prestige, and it seems to be more about being part of that club. You know,
I think it depends,
exclusivity.
particularly with wine. I think it depends on the region. To me, French wines, if you spend more on French wines, you can really tell the difference. You get a $30, $40 bottle of Burgundy, $30, $40 bottle of Bordeaux, and you're kind of like, yeah, this is still pretty tannin forward. This is still pretty alcohol heavy. And by the time you're up into the $75 to $125 range, you're going, okay, I'm getting the taste out of this that I would if I'm drinking New World, Australian, American, that I would if I'm spending, 40 to 60. And
But you also know your wines,
that's true. I do know my wines.
which helps a lot. So like when you find something that's a bargain, you know it's a bargain.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to wine, I'm a big fan of the way Carlo Rossi has that ring. So you can tilt the jug back on your arm and drink like that, like John Wayne in the old Western movies. That's my favorite thing about wine.
Okay. Well, I can tell that when you come to my house and I'm
not going to tempt you.
and I make all,
yourself.
I'll be like, okay, and what's the, you know what? He doesn't know the difference.
Make me
There's a
some
booze
Kool-Aid
bar.
and put vodka in it
Yeah,
and tell me.
there we
it's
go.
fine.
I'll just,
Like,
there we go. There we go. All right.
So at this point, do we want to do another round on the cigars?
Yeah, we might as well revisit the cigars over here. Chad, you're smoking
Well,
pretty slow here, bud.
Yeah, well,
You got a tight draw or just
I
just
thought
the mic?
I thought we were going pretty slow. Actually, I didn't think we were this far along.
Yeah.
But apparently,
Steve has that effect on people.
I'm actually going very slow with the cigar. But it has been pretty well consistent since the loss of the leather in it. That woody, but yet coffee kind of alt bitterness is in there, and it is just pretty fantastic.
Would you say Mr.?
Mister?
Fantastic?
No. But the draw is perfect on it. It's not too tight or anything. I did just blow through it for the first time a few seconds ago. Retrohales have been not bad at all, but I don't know. I've been retrohaling this thing the whole way through. Nothing overpowering on it. Not making me sneeze or anything. So I dig it.
Cool. Well, I would echo that sentiment of just enjoying it. As you can see, I'm down to a little nub here, but I was just kind of noticing like how smooth and not hot or bitter or bad in any way that it still is, which a lot of cigars struggle with at this point. It's a very subtle spice. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but it's a very, very subtle spice in the back end, but very smooth. Still some little woody, toasty kind of notes in here, little bits of coffee. Generally speaking, just a great stick. This is my first time having a Westampa Tobacco Company cigar, and based on this, I'm looking forward to trying more. And again, retrohaling the whole time, like a lot, and doing great. So hats off to Westampa, newer company out there, throwing their hat in the ring of this big market.
Heck yeah.
And happy to have them in the humidor. And
next time I get down to Florida, Bruce, I'll hopefully have you introduce me.
yeah. What's going on? We got spoilers from Espinal over here.
We do. Draw has been kind of an issue, but while the creaminess has receded, this is just still, I don't know, it's really a delightful.
You can be
cigar.
negative on cigars. But
I know, but I would be if I thought it should be, but this isn't. This is really cool. It's not hot. It's
Cool
not
with a K.
yes.
Okay. There we go.
But I mean, it's not burning hot. It's not. I'd say that the nuttiness and the leather and the cedar are certainly taking over. There is some bitterness that's developing. I really like this. I just wish I had
That draw.
Yeah.
a good draw.
I can visually see you're having a little bit of construction quality issues here, which I mean that happens, I guess. But
That's why I'd say I'd give it.
the flavor's good at least on there.
The flavor is good.
You did what I normally do to cigars. So for me, they usually just go
Yeah,
crazy and explode.
he had for a long time like either a bad way of lighting it or something to where it just spiraled out.
I
as he
didn't
went.
roll my
It
cigars.
looks like
as
an
I
Elmer
smoked them.
Fudd cigar, so, you know.
This kind of did, but and usually my the main thing when I try and light them is make sure that that it's lit primarily all around the edge, and so it was all glowing around the edge. So, you know, I don't know if it was lighting, but the draw has been the primary reason that I would give this a less than.
It wasn't
Dr.
until the
Greg.
second relight, right? Or the relight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it probably that was the reason why it kind of had the little bit of an issue there. I wouldn't blame the cigar so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, I certainly would give it given the way that this is presented, the flavors and how it's done. I certainly would smoke another one or two. And obviously, if I still had issues with all three of them, I'd be like, okay. But you know, best cigar maker in the world, you wind up with, you know, a weird leaf or, you know, build it together. No way to know.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
For me, the creaminess is still there, but the like baking spice-esque kind of Oliva flavor, which I could, like, they claim a bunch of different things, but like it's just Oliva. That's the flavor profile.
Yeah.
Is building up on this. The creaminess is still there, and then cedar is just like punching me in the nuts. Like,
Just
you
ramble
will
on cedar.
taste cedar.
Hmm.
It's and then
Interesting.
the entire cigar is insanely tightly packed. Like, it's still supple and it doesn't crack even before I lit it. But it's just like,
I wonder
dense
what would happen if they moved that Candela stripe a bit
all the way
further.
to the end.
I wouldn't say all the way to the end, but you have sort of a section, you know, with the Connecticut and then the Maduro and then the stripe with the Cadella and then the rest of it. So in other words, if they move this about an inch further, what would it do, particularly as it starts to get the heat as the
They
as the
may
flame?
have one like that. I don't know. I have
that-
to look them up a little bit more, but they make a ton of cigars in this
That
kind
would
of
be
fashion.
really-
Have we said the name of this cigar maker much? Do
I
you know?
don't.
You
I don't know what it
Okay.
is. Next time he's in, I'm going to have to ask him because he mentioned it once and handed it to me, and I'm like, all right, I'll have this at a time that's kind of important where I can focus on it, which is right now. Like I'm focusing on the cigar instead of just sitting around. I mean, I'm sitting around
Jack
bullshitting,
John,
but you know,
yeah.
like it's a little different. I just The build quality on this is phenomenal. I haven't destroyed it. And it was tightly packed, and I was worried about draw. And it does have a slightly tight draw, but like it's so dense. It was a heavy goddamn cigar. So like they pack a lot of filler and binder in there.
Try to make it as tasty as possible.
Yeah, no, this is really good. I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever buy a box of these because it's outside my budget, you know?
Yeah.
But if you had them available, I mean, certainly throwing a few of those sticks into your humidor would be really.
Yeah, no, as an occasional cigar, this would be fantastic. Kind of bummed because I'm having to really chooch on it to get to go down with all you guys, and it's like this is something you sit down and let smolder for
Hey man,
20 minutes and pick it back up.
you go at your own pace, obviously.
Normally, like I'll sit here and have a Gordo, and it's nub by now. So I eat cigars.
Well, that brings us to the end of the hour.
Oh, we do have Chip tuning in here.
I don't know if he's still here or not. Appreciate you as always, Chip. Thanks for being here, bud.
We had one more from Miyagi, also right above that.
I did click that. Rocky was well off before cigars. You can see him fork out the money for
I can see it.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you tuning in, and for all those watching afterwards. Thank you. And Instagram. Awesome. Thank you for joining us on Instagram.
Actually,
Thank
we
you,
had one
everybody.
gentleman who chimed in saying he hung out with us here.
Excellent.
We've got Mike Green coming in saying
yeah.
he had a great time at our place a couple weeks ago.
Perfect.
That's my buddy
Thanks for
Mike
coming
from up in the Denali National Park area.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Remember me?
Yeah, one day we hope to have him on here at the table too. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, Mike. We appreciate you, bud.
Do you have anything you want to give a shout out about, or?
I'm really glad you guys opened this up, and man, I'm really glad we got to talk about cigars and not the law or any other shit.
Yeah,
We're here to have a
So,
good time.
you brought up some fun anecdotes.
We just like hearing stories and.
Oh, I could give you a whole
Yeah.
bunch of good stories.
But it doesn't have to be law stories or anything, but just good stories. That's all we like. Thank you again, everybody.
Well, and thank you, Miyagi over here. Thanks.
Oh yeah, what was that, Steve?
I'll give you a good law story that just shows
Okay.
that shows
Take
Bush,
us out on a bang.
shows Bush, Alaska. Okay,
Did it
so
involve like some sort of run-in with moose, or like hitting
No.
moose?
no,
Moose hit you?
It didn't. So, I was the public defender in Dillingham for a number of years,
Oh dear God.
and so the whole calendar revolved around commercial fishing.
Mhm.
Okay, so I represented this guy, and all of this is. I'm not going to give any names, although if you went through Westlaw, you could figure it out. So I represent this guy. He's charged with felon in possession of a firearm. Really should have resolved it. We wound up in trial, and so this all happened in Naknek. And so case goes to trial in April. He's going to get sentenced. He gets convicted. He's going to go to sentencing in August. There's no real calendars because everybody's fishing. I mean, jurors are fishing. Witnesses are. I mean, the first time I got there, people are going, "I can't do that because they're fishing." You're like, "I don't." No. They're out putting up fish. They're commercial fishing, and whatnot.
It's their livelihood or
Yes.
its subsistence.
Yes.
And they cannot be there.
And they cannot be there. So, so client's convicted. We're just waiting for sentencing, and client wants to go commercial fishing with his dad. The thing of it is, a number
He's convicted.
Well, yeah, but it was just a felon in possession, and so he still could stay out. What made things worse for him was a number of years before this, his dad had stabbed him. And his dad had argued, I'm justified in stabbing him because it was self-defense. And there's actually a reported case on this in which his dad wanted to argue, when my son gets drunk, he's really violent, and that's why I did this, and a bunch of stuff. And it's just sometimes easier to have a hearing and have the judge say, not going to approve this, than it is for me to say that's a really bad idea. Okay. So we go in, we have this hearing, and his dad gets up. His dad's going to be third party, and his dad's on the witness stand. And the prosecutor is just like, well, you've been active in the native rights movement for a long time. You don't think whites should have, essentially, you think that the white government is illegitimate because the sale to Russia was not appropriate. He's like, what does that mean? And I mean, the prosecutor and this guy are just yelling back and forth. Okay.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just a shit show. And so then the prosecutor goes, well, you stabbed your son. So, and he goes, well, you not only stabbed your son, you said that he deserved it. And he goes, well, what does that have to do with anything? And I mean, they're just yelling back and forth. Okay. So he finishes, he gets off the stand. All right. And I'm like, well, Judge, you know, his dad says he'll follow the rules, you know, and they're going to be fishing. So let him go fishing. Thank you very much. Okay. It's just enough. I can make my record and do my job. And the DA just stands up. He's just dripping with moral opprobrium. This is an insult to the integrity of this court. And this, that, you know, and here's this. I can't believe he thinks he'd be a good third. Blah, 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 blah. Judge goes, well, I'm going to approve the request and let him go fishing.
Damn it.
And I want you to know, both the DA and I just went like, oh, okay. We really were. We were, both of us were just, I mean, I'm literally picking my job. I'm going, I have no idea where the hell this is coming from. And so, so the dad leaves, the son leaves, the court clerk gets all the paperwork. I'm slowly packing my stuff up. The prosecutor's packing his stuff up. The judge has stepped off. Judge steps back in because he's got a bunch of books on his bench up there. And he comes in and he grabs the stuff. And the prosecutor goes, which, by the way, is not really something you should do. But he says, you can just hear the perplexity in his voice. He goes, can I ask you why you granted this request? And the judge pulls this book out and he's like, well, kind of skims through it. And he goes, I figured it's going to be the two of them. They're going to be on a 32-foot boat in the Bering Sea. Maybe one of them will get mad at the other. Justice will get done, and we won't have to worry about it. And I thought, shit, there is nowhere else in this country that you'd ever have, number one, that decision, the reasons for that decision, and then the prosecutor asked that question. I mean, and I just thought, this is Alaska.
Frontier justice.
Frontier justice, man.
On that high note, back to Tampa. We'll see you on the first Saturday of next month.
Steve.
Okay.
We appreciate you,
Hey,
man.
sure.
Thanks again,
And I got a bunch more stories if they ever have me back. Okay.
Not everybody.
We will.
Thanks for being here.
All right.